What is up, everybody? Today I'm going to be touring my Minecraft world. This video is completely unscripted, so you're getting the raw footage. Alright, so starting off, this is Acumen Outpost. This is the first place that we settled in this area. It is commemorated by this little outpost that I built. This is the flag we decided on, and this gives you a taste of the sort of building motif theme that we have going on, which is the classic Savannah orange. We made it a point to try and make it work, because I'm sure you guys know that it is not everybody's favorite wood. So, moving along, first of all, I'll start with my house. This is the view from below, or from the entrance, and I'll start by showing you the exterior a little bit. So I have these steps that are going all the way up. I actually plan on changing these quite a bit, but there's a million different things that everybody plans on changing in this world, so I just figured I'd use this as a little time capsule video to see where we were at this point. And by the way, today is August 21st, 2026 as I'm recording this. And so yeah, over here I have this sewer pipe, which if you're a dedicated fan of my videos, you may recognize as the place that Christopher meets Marcus and the gang for the first time. And yeah, so I'll give you a little more of the exterior out here. Obviously it's a little hard to see from down here, but I'll go level by level. And really quick to get it out of the way, this is my sheep farm. We have every color being farmed here. All that, you know. Over here's the nether portal, which I'll get into in a little bit. But continuing on with my house, you can go up the stairs, and I have basically just different levels of farming. So currently it's all potatoes. I'm actually planning on changing it to a different crop so it can blend a little better with the color scheme I have going, and I think it's gonna end up being wheat. But yeah, so lots of potatoes going around here. I'll just fly around to give you a better view of it. So yeah, these are my potato farms. There's a few levels of it. I did have all the levels filled with potatoes at one point, but because I was doing a lot of construction on the inside, I just haven't had a chance to replant them yet. Here's some of my animals that I have on the outside. These are some husk camels and a regular camel. But yeah, so this is definitely a house that I'm very proud of, especially because all of these levels of farming are completely terraformed, and it's not natural. It was a pretty small hill over this way where I built my house, the actual home part of it. But yeah, I extended it quite a bit, and I just have I had a lot of empty space in there that I have since gotten rid of, and added some cool stuff inside. You're getting a hint right there. But yeah, so I also have cats around to stop creepers and phantoms, just in case. This is actually the first copper golem I ever made. I never ended up taking off the rust. I have some pumpkins here just temporarily because I needed pumpkins for something. Here I have a big sort of little, I guess you could say it's big amount of the pillager banners that I collected over the years. By the way, this world is around 3 years old, and eventually I stopped putting them because we have a pillager farm, so it just wouldn't really make sense because it's just not as special that way. But yeah, so here's the entrance. I obviously have a Star Destroyer up there, hard to miss, but yeah, so this is the front of my house. It has a pretty irregular sort of form to it. I think it has some nice details though. For example, this window in the back is pretty cool. Some some distinct features of stonework and woodworking, some cool windows. But yeah, so now I'll start by going inside. So here I have this window. A lot of sunlight gets in through here. I have a bunch of cats in here, so just forgive me in advance. I like this flooring. It's calcite and polished diorite. Here I have a fish tank. It could definitely use some beautifying. But for now, I like the outside and I like the selection of fish. It seems cozy for them. I have a light feature here. I started incorporating some copper and prismarine features in my most recent iteration of this house because I've been doing some renovations. Right here you can see I have not finished it. But yeah, it gives a pretty cool view to the outside, and over here as well, pretty nice views in this house. So yeah, continuing on, you're gonna start to be hearing the cats quite a bit, I imagine. Here's a little kitchen area that I have: a towel, a sink, dishwasher, stove, fridge, all that stuff. Lots of storage, more storage, little picture frames, plants, and cooked fish and mutton, more drawers, things like that. I have a fireplace sort of oven kind of thing going here. I imagine this is like one of those big pizza ones. But yeah, here's some of my cats. Some of them are named, some of them are not. I have some dogs scattered as well. But yeah, just for context, I made all these cats with the intention of spreading them around the city, so we could essentially remove creepers and phantoms as an issue in this world. Here I have some paintings, and I am a big fan of this feature here, this overhang. I think it's really nice. Dark prismarine is one of my favorite blocks for sure. This here I'm still figuring out. This ladder's definitely temporary, so don't worry, and so are these cinnabar blocks. But yeah, so just another nice view here, and just a little sneak peek of what's to come in this video. But yeah, this obviously needs more touch-ups with the renovations. But continuing on, I have my storage room right here, and I really like the way that I made these arches and these wall details. I think they're really interesting, and yeah, I really love the shelf block. I love the pillow. But yeah, here's all my stuff, and this right here is a garbage chest, so whatever you put in here will end up being smelted soon. And an ender chest, all that stuff. I obviously have to finish cleaning this up because I'm not done with the renovations. But yeah, back here you could just see all my chests, and it's a mess. But yeah, so continuing on, here's my bedroom. This is also incomplete, but here I have some paintings and a nice little sniffer pot with a little mangrove propagule in it. I have Mr. House, my bed, and I don't know what I was going for here, but it kind of reminds me of like a watermelon. I think this lighting feature is pretty cool, but yeah, definitely needs some work here. This also gives a nice view of the welcome sign and my farms, these are my little backup farms. But yeah, so then right here, just some more paintings. Right here I have a little secret room. This one doesn't. And I have an enchantment room here, which I am a big fan of. I also plan on changing this a little bit, but I have some other utility things here, some lapis, some water for bottles of water to put in the brewing stand, things of that sort. And yeah, so that's it for the interior of my actual house. No, it's not, never mind. So up here, the stairs lead to the entrance of the Star Destroyer, and unfortunately, I'll just be honest about it, there's not much to do up here because it's not done. So yeah, but the Star Destroyer's exterior is basically done, which I could show you right now. Not spawn proofed, obviously, as you can see, but yeah, so I really should get around to doing that. I just haven't yet. So yeah, I have a nice skylight over here, things like that. Had to light it up because this casts a big shadow, as I'm sure you can imagine. And yeah, so now for the outer portions of my house. This right here is Marcus's house, the sniffer from Should You Hate the Sniffer. This is actually the exact guy that you all met in that video. Or no, actually this is his girlfriend. I'll show where he is actually. Spoiler alert. But he is alive and he is around. I'll get to that in a little bit. Right here though is Richie from Forget About It actually. Yeah, he's just chilling out here. He's behind the scenes. He's actually good friends with Marcus. But yeah, just some simple decorations. I had to open this up because it wasn't giving them enough space to sniff up seeds. So knowing that they enjoy that, I decided to make it in the backyard, and they spend most of the time in the backyard. But yeah, some nice plants out here, some hay bales, things like that. And yeah, so this is another portion that I'm a little ashamed of aesthetically, because this is just rough and I need to get around to doing that. I don't know, but yeah, these are all leftover props from Should You Hate the Sniffer. Fun fact, these are the flowers that were in the original enclosure that I didn't have inventory space, so I placed them all there. Yeah, so continuing on. Another place that I obviously have to renovate and make a little nicer, but here I have my infinite fuel source. So what's going on here is that right there is a kelp farm that is perpetually feeding into this, which is also fed by a bamboo farm, which goes here, 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 all the way over here, so it can fuel these. And this kelp is just perpetually cooking cactus, which is what's in there. And that gives me infinite XP, all that, infinite green dye. And this is just where it all leads. All the chests of things that I've smelted. I recently emptied them out, but just classic things that you would be smelting, you know. But yeah, this is another area that is not very pretty, but it's thankfully well hidden. Now in here is a secret room that I used to have, but it's just not really even operational anymore. You can see that this is making so much cactus that it's actually clogged. But yeah, some cats. I had a bunch of different farms in here that just didn't pan out, so just had to relocate them and you know, upsize them a lot of the time. But yeah, so this was I mean, it's nice to look back on, because I used to spend a lot of time in this room, but not anymore, because all of those have been replaced. But carrying on, over here I have my infinite lava farm, so whenever I need lava for anything, it's pretty easy to just go in there instead of running to the nether, even though the nether's not far. Over here is another inactive farm that I used to be using. This one is sugarcane, because I ended up just making a bigger one. But yeah, so over here is the entrance to my villager trading hall and villager breeder. So in here you can see they have a nice room, and it's very natural looking so that they can feel at home. These two guys have been my breeders forever in this world. I have only ever really used these guys for all of my trading hall purposes to make them, and I still use them sometimes because well, I'll get to that later. But yeah, so this is the villager breeder room. I don't even really have to keep this closed because they can't fit through here, but whatever. So this was a huge pain, as I'm sure you can imagine, to make these light fixtures. Just not fun, but I think it was worthwhile because it does look nice, in my opinion. Over here I have my sugarcane farm that it goes off at the beginning of each day. So these are freshly harvested. It goes over here and empties it out into this chest. So pretty simple stuff for that one. And This floor also is pretty detailed. That was a huge pain as well. Over here's my bamboo farm, another one that I used to have and have since made it much bigger. This one isn't even automatic because it generates so much. If it was automatic, I would have a serious lack of places to put it. So I just have it set so that it's a button whenever I need sticks. It makes so many that it actually lags my computer. But yeah, so that's a very, very helpful farm. Gives me infinite emeralds because I just trade the sticks with Fletcher villagers. It's amazing. Over here I have another fish tank. This one you can walk on over. And love this one a lot. All these fish seem to be getting along, except for the puffer fish. This poor guy. But super cool in my opinion. I do wish that I had the connected glass on Lunar Client, but I haven't been able to figure that out. So if anybody knows how to do that, please let me know. Over here is the villager trading hall. So very detailed lighting fixtures, and just I have my librarians all here. Sugarcane leads right here, where I can then craft it into paper, trade with them infinitely. I have my Fletchers. All the sticks go into these chests, making me infinite emeralds, trading with those guys. Over here I have my masons and one armorer. This guy is kind of just here in case anybody ever dies and needs some fresh diamond armor. It's pretty cheap. But these guys are essentially just my quartz guys. I'm always getting quartz from them, terracotta, things of that sort. My clerics give me redstone, glowstone, what else do they, lapis, bottles of enchanting, things like that. They're very good for those things, because after a certain point in the game you aren't really spending a lot of time mining. So for redstone, I'm always coming over to these guys. My cartographer, this guy has zombified. I need to save him. But yeah, these guys are also good for paper, good for explorer maps, things like that. Very, very good. And obviously I have to close this off. I was working on it pretty recently. Over here I have my axolotl tank. I still need to continue breeding these guys because I want to get the rare axolotl, the darker blue one. But I just have not gotten around to it, so I will keep on. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for my entire house. This is something I've put a lot of work into, a lot of hours, and yeah, I'm very proud of this house. This is probably, or definitely the best Minecraft house I've made in all my years. Over here I have Jerry's house from Tom and Jerry. There's a little hole in the wall, so just keep your lips sealed about that. And moving on over this way, I have the Eye of Sauron, which you may recognize from Forget About It or the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So the interior is not very gorgeous, I'm aware. This right here's the boss, the tadpole guy. Here's his elite guard of the ODM gear guys. And up here is the server's creeper farm. So this was actually built before the whole building and was a huge hassle, mainly because I wanted to build the Eye of Sauron, or I just wanted to build something cool around the creeper farm because it was such an eyesore. And as you could tell by the massive amount of creepers falling, it's honestly not even that good. So, you know, I would love to remake the Eye of Sauron at some point, or at least make adjustments to it. But the unfortunate thing is that I built it really close to my friend's house and the nether portal, as you can see. But yeah, so this is my friend's house, George. He's making the great Deku tree from Zelda. awesome little sound that it makes, the little song that plays. Down here he has this fountain, this well, and seems like he's building something cool down here. Very cool stuff, very promising. And yeah, sadly not totally complete, but still definitely coming together very nicely. Now what you're hearing is a noise machine that I built. Hopefully it's not too loud. But yeah, so here's some little ponds, a well. These are my friend Bill's. He's built these tents. They're very cozy. Very, very cozy. I helped him out and built this bridge. And another tent right there. And then over here he has this outdoor underground portion that is pretty cool. Very, very nice. Very detailed. And yeah, so over here this is all obviously under construction, but he's building a sort of fountain plaza kind of thing, or at least that's the current idea. Up there is William's house. Has not been on in forever, but cute little house for sure. And a cool part over here with storage and a super smelter room. But yeah, so here's a better view of the Eye of Sauron. Pretty cool. And if you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings, you'll probably quite easily be able to tell that this is not very accurate. So just don't tell anybody. Over here is our old AFK fishing farm, which has since been retired. And yeah, so going on, let's go inside of Bill's house. Here's the entrance. So you may recognize this from Memories of Marcus. These are the two piglin. There's the piglin father and son that we spoke to in that video. And through here is a whole other room, which has a bunch of lava, a bunch of deep slate, the enchantment room, more lava, things of that sort. Down here is the, what I assume is the bedroom. Storage, cool floor features here. And yeah, this is just a closer view of that room from the inside now. Also, you can fall down this, which is another very detailed, very wacky looking room, but very cool. So yeah, that is just about it for Bill's house. And I will now be flying to our next spot, which is the Colosseum. So this right here is the Colosseum that I built. It has this nice fountain outside to welcome you. This is the main entrance. It has this grand staircase. Lots of interesting stuff going on here. This could totally be worked on in the future. But yeah, so lots of fights go on in here, and I'm actually working on a secret feature right there that I will not disclose in this video. Up here I have the wager chest, so whoever's fighting, whoever's spectating can bet on it. It has these cool copper crates with lava in them. Pretty cool stuff, if I do say so myself. Over here is the VIP room. So up here I have these two chests that you can send items to each of the fighters down there with. And you could sit here, just a bunch of features, lots of cool stuff, artwork. The items pass through these pipes. And yeah, so down here Here's like the entrance part, the little room they come out of. Both are very different. This one you can't really see because it's being used to capture this happy gas. But yeah, so moving on, over here is our friend Sock's house. This one is one of the less developed ones because he has not played in years. He's even been evicted. This is his room. This is his foyer. This is his storage, mine shaft, things like that. And yeah, he has a cool wheat farm. It definitely makes this mountainside look a lot nicer. And this cool little entrance arch, pretty cool. So then over here is the hobbit hole that I've built. This is one of my camel friends, and this is actually Peter from all 3 movies that have come out thus far. And yeah, I am super obsessed with how the fireflies look. They are so cool. It's a pretty recent addition to Minecraft, but the firefly bush just makes this whole thing look amazing, in my opinion. I think that it is such a cool little ambiance detail. But yeah, so this hobbit hole is actually a set for one of my upcoming films that I will be making. So in the interest of not spoiling anything, I will not be going inside. But yeah, I think this came out nice. Obviously it would be nicer if it wasn't with the acacia, but I'm trying to keep it in theme. So, you know, I don't think the orange looks so terrible, but I think it's nice. The moss block is just a great addition to the game, and even the way that it functions, I think, is just really interesting. So yeah, moving on. Right here is Vito's house. So this is Vito right here. This is a house that I came up with. I don't really have a use for this, but it wasn't originally intended to show up in Forget About It, and it never did. But yeah, so this is the actual Vito. The one that died in the movie is like a replicant of this guy. So he was gonna be part of the movie, and after I put him here, I just thought he looked so good in this room, so cute, that I'll just make another one and make that one evil in the movie. So yeah, the mud bricks are gorgeous. I love mud bricks. Dark prismarine I've already mentioned. But yeah, and I like this entrance. I think this shape is pretty cool. But yeah, the contrast of the deep slate bricks and smooth deep slate bricks, I think, work pretty well with the acacia, as well as the copper. So, moving along, this is the Orange Frog family home from Forget About It. I still haven't fixed it. I'm not sure if I will, but as you can see, it's under construction here since blowing up. Unfortunately, I did actually blow it up for that video, and I do kind of regret it because I honestly really liked how it turned out. But down here, I'll give you some behind the scenes. This is where all the redstone was running through, so it automatically opened the door when Richie showed up, or when the gang showed up and Richie was there. It shot the arrows out that killed Vito. It threw the potion at Christopher. All that stuff was real movie magic. And in a sort of poetic sense, this flower out here stayed alive, completely untouched by the bomb that they put inside of there. So I'm gonna sleep really quick, just so I don't have to deal with monsters while I do this. Alright. Whoops. Okay, so right over here, this is the behind the scenes of the movie. This is the camera that we used to film it. This is the gang minus Peter. This is the original Jacob, who has not aged a day. This is the actor for young Marcus. He is a baby, not the actual Marcus. Over here's Cassandra, who was a production assistant. This guy's Carl. He was also a production assistant. Right here is how Marcus was directing the movie, co-directing. This is Larry David. He was helping us out with the writing and directing, all that stuff. And this right here is the actual Marcus. This is the one that was a baby and Should You Hate the Sniffer, the one that grew up. You guys all know him. And yeah, so he's still around, and he's still around, still happy, still running the city, all good, and helping out with documenting, retelling the events of his life. Pretty cool. Over here is my friend Adrian's house. He has also been evicted, so yeah, I don't want to, invade too much of his privacy, but he made a cherry blossom version of the Adventure Time house. Pretty awesome stuff from him. Love how that came out in the back. Yeah, now over here is Pablo's house, and this one is pretty awesome. I like his little farm, and it's very unique, very unique stuff. I think his use of cherry is really interesting. He basically made a whole cherry forest back here. So pretty awesome work from him. Yeah, and over here's some of the interior. Not sure what this is supposed to be, but very cool, very interesting. And yeah, so pretty cool, pretty simple, but it's another that didn't really play too much, so makes sense that he doesn't have as many things to show as some other people that have played. Now over here is my friend Nicholas's house that is being made. He made this cool little fountain area, and it has a bird. Pretty cool. I like the palette that he used and the depth of the water. All those things really help it out, make it look pretty cool. The plant life as well. This here is his house framing, so obviously still under construction. This tree structure, I assume, is meant to be that tree that's outside of Toriel's house in Undertale, but I could be wrong. Just guessing because of this. He has a stone farm. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool. Obviously, I'm sure it'll look cooler once it's done. Over here is Ruben's house, which is not done, so I won't be showing that, just for the sake of, kind of giving him the same integrity as everybody else, in the sense that I don't want to show his work when it's not fit to be properly judged, because it's not done. Over here is my resin farm. This is a pretty cool farm. It only works at nighttime, and it gets you a lot of resin. Pretty cool. I found it on YouTube and made some modifications to it. I think I've improved it quite a bit, because it was very finicky before. So yeah, over here is Mr. House. I built this. This was for some map art. Huge hassle. I don't really plan on ever doing anything like that again, unless it's something that everybody will understand, because I'm kind of the only one on the server that's played Fallout. This is the iron farm. Lots of iron, lots of poppies. Pretty awesome. Good amount of iron coming from this. And now, I'm gonna go over here into the nether, just so that we can wrap up this area. Here we have a chest for stuff that you don't want to lose in the nether. These two piglins have been trapped forever. So, continuing on, this is the nether hub area, and we have this that leads to trial chambers and portal. I'll show you a little glimpse of this. It goes quite far, courtesy of my friend Michael, who made this whole tunnel all by himself. Very impressive stuff. It goes very far. I think around maybe 10,000 blocks in the overworld. Maybe. I could be confusing it with the distance in the nether. This way is our Blaze XP farm, as well as the way to Noah's house, which is also very impressive. And this way is the Froglight farm. This one I'll actually show just because the Froglight farm was quite the undertaking to complete. And just in case you don't know how Froglight farms are made, you have to find 3 different types of frogs because they are biome specific. And you have to bring them all together in one place where there are magma cubes spawning continuously, and that is something that can spawn in a piglin bastion sometimes, so you have to bring them to the nether. So the easiest way to do this is to get the tadpoles in a bucket and have them grow up in the specific biome that you need them to, and then to bring those through the whole nether and have them trapped in this chamber where they kill the magma cubes and give you froglights. So each different type of frog gives you a different type of froglight. There's 3 different ones, as I said. So this was a huge pain all on its own, but obviously the most difficult part was getting these guys over here. Long boat paths, just huge pain. I was not trying to, traverse all that distance with them on a lead, so I had them in a boat. A lot of land covered, a lot of distance covered by sea, and just very difficult, very tedious. Honestly, not fun at all. But you stand here and then they fall down. Then that snow block right there freezes it to death so that it becomes the smaller forms. Here you can see it taking damage now. And then the medium form is killed by the snow block as well. You'll see that in a second. And then the smallest baby forms these guys like to eat. So there you see it happening. And basically just a huge hassle transporting the frogs, and also a hassle dealing with all the lava surrounding this, and things potentially falling down and burning. The frogs potentially falling down and burning. All that stuff was a factor. So yeah, now I guess since I am going to be doing this trip back, and you won't be seeing anything new. I'll just talk about some of the plans that I have for this world, which are, for example, I'd like to cover the Mr. House painting with a pyramid. I think doing that would be really, really cool, and also would serve to cover up what is kind of an eyesore right now. Normally I wouldn't really mind because I like Fallout, obviously, but it is pretty close by to Ruben's house, so I don't think it is just like, I don't think it's gonna work keeping that there. I also have to spawn proof all these paths. Most of them are spawn proofed, I think literally except this one. But yeah, so now I'm gonna go back to the overworld before going to Noah's house and show you the remainder of what's there. Okay. Man, yeah, I really need to spawn proof this. Dude, come on. But yeah, nether highways are one of the least fun parts of Minecraft in my opinion. So thankfully I'm not spending much time in there lately. But yeah, so now I'll show you Michael's house. Actually, first I'll show you over here. This is the sniffer farm. Just renewably farming pitcher pods and torchflower seeds. Just a bunch of them in there. Courtesy of our friend Marcus being the first one. And his girlfriend at my house, one you saw before, being an Eve of sorts. So here's some mini games that my friend Nicholas made. They're pretty cool. This one is the one where you build like obstacles and then you have to see who can get through it. This one is a sort of archery one, and they have scoreboards. But yeah, pretty cool. Nice little area to sort of bring this empty space together a little better. Now over here is Michael's little outpost with Boop, zombie horse, and over here's the welcome sign that I did build. I'll get a little closer to that. Pretty simple, just quartz, and just made it look a little messy, but whatever. Yeah, from far I think it looks nice, and I think the Star Destroyer also serves as a good entrance way, kind of, you know, showing you where you're at. Here are Michael's zombie nautiluses, and over here is his current house. So he's been very clear that this is just temporary. Here he has his chicken farm, fishing farm. Not sure what this is, but lots and lots of storage. He actually has even more storage, even more than all this he has in the nether, which I'll show now. It's pretty cool. I think he's done a great job with this. It's one of the copper golem ones. He definitely has to wax those guys that got out. But yeah, cool little area here. This is where the Guardian farm loot goes, which I will show soon. So back over here, that is just about it with Michael's house, his current home. which obviously isn't much to look at currently, but that's only because he hasn't made a point to make it nice to look at. And over here is where he's actually making it nice to look at. I believe his plan is to have a bunch of retaining walls for this hierarchy of elevation change. And yeah, this seems pretty promising. So now, the final thing before Noah's house is the ocean city that Michael and I have been working on, but mostly Michael. So this first tower here is the sulfur farm. So let me go inside here. This is a pretty extensive sulfur farm. It goes up, I believe, I could just check. Yeah, it has 5 levels to it. It's extremely slow despite how much time I spent making it and how huge it is. You can see that by this being all the loot it's made over the course of like a full day maybe of AFKing. Actually, probably a lot less. But yeah, so up here you can get a better look at the mechanism. It's just detecting once it gets low enough and then it breaks it off automatically. So pretty cool stuff. I do wish there was a quicker way to harvest that because sulfur's a pretty cool block. So has an entrance thing here, pretty cool. And we're inspired by the cities on Mancala from Star Wars, so you can look that up if you are curious. This next one is the Guardian Farm. Very, very cool. The way that it works is really interesting. I think Michael may have closed the entrance here. Or never mind, it's up here. So yeah, this is huge, obviously, and pretty empty. But I think it has to be for this to be working. But yeah, lots of guardians, lots of prismarine, lots and lots of squid ink as well. But yeah, so that's the biggest tower that we have so far. Probably will remain that way. And this one over here is the one that I've done the most work on, even including the sulfur one. I've kind of just had this whole interior be my workspace for a while. I was experimenting a lot with bee farming and villager farming and cow farming, so I'll walk you through this mechanism last. But here I just have a bunch of beds and villagers that are breeding, so whenever they're ready, or whenever there's enough of them, we take them out on a voyage and have them become cartographers so we can get trial explorer maps and find new trial chambers. This right here is a cow farm that I got from YouTube. It's not incredibly efficient or anything, it's pretty standard stuff, but nice to have them all in one spot instead of a whole huge landmass that cow farms typically take up. Over here is a lot of shulker boxes of sand that I've collected for the next tower. Here's a fish in a fish tank. These are all gravel, lots and lots of gravel collected, sand, more sand, all that stuff, because these are mostly made of concrete. Here we have a furnace, just making glass. And now, over here, I'll show you the bee farm. So, during the day, as you probably know, they come out and pollinate these azalea leaves, the flowering azalea leaves. And whenever they collect it, these things detect it, and the dispenser either gets a bottle or shears. And then it goes down into this hopper line. Also, there's 2 of these huge rows, or actually 3, never mind. Which, by the way, I do not recommend because it's so excessive that you'll just never have enough glass bottles to do this. You need something crazy like over like 20,000 glass bottles, because each thing is 64 like times 9 each single one. So it piles up pretty quickly. I was definitely too ambitious with that because now this farm is just always running out of bottles to use, and there's just not enough glass in this entire world to manage that. And things like this happen because it runs out of bottles. The honeycombs and bottles fall out. So it's something I need to really start working on getting a lot more glass for this to work perfectly. But anyway, all those hoppers on the bottom lead all the way over here, where they then go into this copper chest right here, where these little guys are filtering either honeycombs or bottles into each chest. And they have a system set up so that this amount will always be there, so that the copper golems know to put it in that chest. Same with this one. And after that, they are sent into these machines that automatically dispense them into these 2 separate pipes, which then, for the honeycomb, goes straight over here, which is simple enough, but the honey blocks are more difficult because they have to be crafted into honey blocks first, so that the bottles can be redistributed back into the system. So the way I've done that is up here, I have it so all the bottles lead into this hopper, which goes into this crafter, which then crafts them into bottles and pours them back down here, and then this hopper splits it evenly amongst these 3 hoppers that it goes over, which are feeding it into these 3 lanes. So I'm hoping right now, it would be pretty embarrassing if it's not, that there's a lot of bottles in here. Okay, not a lot. This one seems to be getting the majority of them. Yeah, so not perfect, but whatever. So then you just click these when you want to refill all the glass bottles, and that's how the system works. Yeah, pretty simple when you say it out loud, but it did take me a while to figure all this out. A lot of YouTube, a lot of different mechanisms at play here. You know. But yeah, lots and lots of honey, lots of honeycombs, lots and lots. And yeah, so that's it for this pillar. I'm gonna sleep really quick. So yeah, let's continue. For this, I think it will be ideal to use the nether for traveling. Not there. Right here. So this is the main structure that he's done so far. pretty insane with the gradient and all this detail. It is pretty absurd. This dome is obviously gorgeous. Just a pretty insane feat of detail and scale. It's very, very impressive. I also like the palette that's used. This little nature area is also really nice. More of those firework bushes, like I said before. This part is really cool. He has this cliffside. It's very, very cool. Now the interior is really, really impressive. The palette, I think, is very nice. This artificial tree, very cool. And just a lot of circular features in this whole building, this whole area. I think it's really impressive. This is the storage room. Another copper golem one. Just very well done. Very, very nice palette. Very effective use of different materials, and I think it's just very well done. This one over here is the panda enclosure. John Marcus. Well guys, thank you for watching this world tour. It's been a pleasure playing on this world. Hopefully Hypixel will someday allow us to download the world file so that I can actually have my render distance up and not be on Hypixel. And also just in case of emergency, but currently that feature does not exist. But yeah, thank you for watching. I plan on playing on this world for as long as I can. Hopefully Hypixel never shuts down, or they do that world download option. But yeah, I leave any suggestions in the comments. What was your favorite build in the whole thing? Just comment something, anything, I don't know.